there is a Papillion is pushing for a stricter dog attack ordinance after several deadly attacks in the area. So we've got, now the article calls them bulldogs that mauled this woman's pet dog to death. In there, she was out walking on a leash. They broke out of the yard and attacked her and the dog and killed the dog. Bulldogs. Now, imagine a bulldog and imagine it doing that. You can't. I don't think the things could move fast enough to get to somebody to do that. It's pit bulls. And the reason they call them bulldogs are because they don't want the pit bull lobby. And yes, the pit bull lobby is real. No, they don't have money like big tobacco or the pharmaceutical companies, but they have something that's almost as good. A bunch of loud, obnoxious people with nothing better to do. So they're terrified, this 3 News Now that wrote this article, of calling a spade because they don't want to be harassed by the pit mommies, whereas we welcome that. Bring it on. You're a bunch of fat losers who contribute nothing to society. So it says, in July, a neighbor's dog broke through the fence and killed Roxy, a leash dog being walked by her owner, prompting calls for stricter city ordinances. Multiple Papillion residents have experienced dog attacks, including Jody Sutton, whose chocolate lab was attacked by 3 bulldogs in 2016 and still suffers issues because of it. Neighbors want immediate removal of dogs. So here's what they're requesting, and the pit mommies are upset about this. They think this is an egregious violation of their civil liberties. What these people in Papillion are demanding: immediate removal of dogs that attack someone unprovoked, a clearer definition of what constitutes as a dangerous dog, and harsher penalties, including a 15-year ban on dog ownership for reckless owners. Now, could you imagine hearing that and go, it's the same thing as the trans community that thought Ed Gein, the necrophiliac that uses a chainsaw and wears his victim's skin as a costume, was an attack on them. Pit bull owners read that. Nowhere was the word pit bull used, but pit bull owners read immediate removal of dogs that attack unprovoked and harsher penalties, including a 15-year ban for reckless owners, and went, wow, this is an attack on us. Again, sweetheart, if the shoe fits, and it usually does with pit bull owners. Now, normally the diabetes and heart disease has swollen their legs, so it's harder for them to fit into the shoe, but it does fit. It is yours. You're going to the ball, okay? It's not a fun ball, but you're going to one. I think when they have this at the city council, because here's what's going to happen. This is what always happens. When they have this hearing at the city council, a bunch of pit mommies are going to show up. They don't have to be at work, so they're going to show up. They'll leave the kids with the dogs. Only half of the kids will get mauled to death by the dogs. So they're going to show up, and they're going to try to intimidate the city council. This is what happened in Bellevue. I know the city councilman who tried to propose a similar law to what we have in Omaha. The pit mommies showed up and bullied their councilman into backing down on it. So I think what we need to do is we need to find out when this hearing is going to be, and I need to show up, and I need to testify, and I will come with half data, half insults for all of the fat, disgusting ogres that call themselves women in the crowd. And we will see if I can make it out alive. Should I wear a bulletproof vest? What do you think? I think we can make a spectacle. I'm seriously going to do this.
Yes.
I think we can make a spectacle out of this. And I can record myself just getting screamed at by just some of the most disgusting women you've ever seen. And guys with face tattoos and stuff like that. It'll basically be, you'll get a glimpse at what your tax dollars are paying for with EBT. And I think we should do this. I think it's a great idea. So full disclosure, we got alerted by a listener not too long ago. I've been working on a story, but I can't get a comment from the Humane Society. A listener alerted us that she was mauled by 2 pit bulls in a suburb of Omaha. And the pit bulls broke out of the apartment and attacked her and her dog. And the only reason that one or both of them is not dead is because a man who was witnessing it beat them off with a shovel. Multiple hits, they kept coming. Now, I don't know about you. I'm a big dude, but if you hit me one time with a shovel, I'm going to stop. That shows the killing machine monstrosities that pit bulls are. So, come to find out, the Nebraska Humane Society had taken these dogs in back in 2021 2023, after another violent incident where they had mauled somebody else and released them back to the owner. Well, the owner didn't even bother to get the rabies shots for these dogs when she got them back. And then they got out 2 years later and mauled our listener. Come to find out after that, the Humane Society told our listener that as long as this woman paid the fines, they'd give her dogs back to her. So they can go out and maul a third person, or maybe just kill a small child this time. Who knows? And the reason they do that is because they're terrified of the pit lobby, because these people are violent, they're unpredictable, and they have nothing to lose. We are letting the literal bottom of the barrel of humanity bully our elected officials into allowing killing machines to freely roam the streets over and over and over and over again, while they continue to terrorize their neighborhoods, kill people's pets, assault old ladies and their children, and all this bullshit. Because our elected officials are spineless. That's what's going on here. So we reached out to the Humane Society, and I gave them a week to get back to me. And I asked a whole bunch of questions. I said, hey, do you alert people that are maybe adopting a dog that the dog might be violent? They didn't respond. I've got my list of questions. I won't read all of them for you, but I'll tell you what I asked because I wanted to get to the bottom of this. I said, hey, I'm a journalist. I'm reaching out. I've done a lot of homework. I've texted my cousin and I've sent this email. So I've done a lot of homework lately. But I reached out to him. I said, hey, let's find the email. It was a media request. I said, is our tip correct that this is not the dog's first offense, number one? What's the current status of the dogs, number two? Number three, if they don't pay the applicable fines, what will happen to the dogs? Will they be adopted out to a new owner, and will that new owner be made aware of their violent history? Number four, what is the standard process for evaluating a dog's history before releasing it for adoption back into the community? Because that's the thing, is they said it passed a temperament test. Now, I don't know. One would think that a rational person might think that a good temperament test for a dog would be, does it maul innocent people mulling about on their own in the streets? That would be the temperament test, not does it snap at me when I stick my arm in its kennel. The test is, are you like 99% of other dogs, or do you maul people that are minding their own business? Oh, you do? Needle time! I said, are testing standards and release conditions after an attack more stringent for pits? Are written disclosures provided to adopters about dogs' known risks, and do adopters sign acknowledgments? Does NEHS have any type of awareness policy to alert members of the community that dangerous dogs have been released back into it? How many dogs that were previously deemed dangerous after attacks have you guys released back into the community in 2025 after passing a quote-unquote temperament test? Have there been previous incidents involving other dogs released by your organization, and what changes were made to policies as a result? How do you justify releasing dogs that have now committed multiple attacks on innocent parties back into the community from a public safety standpoint? We were informed the dogs' rabies vaccinations were out of date. Do you plan to ensure they will be vaccinated and licensed as a condition prior to releasing them back to the owner? Will the owner be required to carry an insurance policy to keep these dogs? If so, how is compliance with that enforced? How many times must a dog attack a human before they're no longer eligible to be released back into the community? If a dog kills a human in an unjustified attack, is there a possibility it can still be released? If a dog kills a pet in an unjustified attack, is there a possibility that it can still be released? If a dog inflicts significant bodily harm on a child under the age of 10, causing hospitalization and or permanent bodily dismemberment, is there a possibility that can be released? And given that these dogs mauled someone else in 2023, then went on to 2025, reoffend in 2025, do you plan to reevaluate your aggression testing policy to prevent repeat offenders going forward? I said, please respond by 5 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday the 31st, or I will note that you decline comment on this story. They decline comment because we know what the answers are. This is a scandal. How many ticking time bombs has the Nebraska Humane Society released back into the community just waiting to get out and maul you and kill your pets and kill your kids that we have no idea about? Violent killing machines with a taste for blood and a violent history. How many of them are out in the community living down the street from you in your apartment building that you don't know about because these people are too big of cowards to stand up to these loser fat single moms with nothing better to do with their time than go scream at people over a policy that's just common sense. How many of them? Was that a good enough rant?
Yes.
Ah! If you have a pit bull, you shouldn't qualify for EBT. We should cut them off. Starve. The pit bull won't starve. It's going to eat your fucking kids. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you could actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.